So ladies and gentlemen, let's move on with the next session. This is India Sea Trade presents 10th edition of the Coastal Multimodal Logistics Summit 2024 in association with Federal Bank, powered by Pushpak Logistics and organized by Sea Trade Knowledge Network. Our next panel session is on the topic solving the first mile, last mile conundrum towards promoting coastal shipping. First and last mile connectivity has always been a challenge that coastal shipping operators in India are confronted with. This session focuses on addressing the challenges associated with the first mile, last mile connectivity and explores strategies to promote coastal shipping as an economical mode of transport. Recognizing the critical role of efficient transportation links in enhancing the viability of coastal shipping, the session aims to identify innovative solutions and collaborative approaches to overcome logistical hurdles. To discuss and debate on the topic, we have dignitaries here who are well known to the industry. They need no special introduction except a loud, thunderous applause. Ladies and gentlemen, as I call the name, let's welcome them with a loud round of applause. Mr. A. Rajagopal, Chief General Manager, Food Corporation of India. Sir, may I request you to kindly walk on stage? To join him on stage, I'd like to welcome Mr. Ashok Goel, Chairman and Managing Director, BLR Logistics Limited. Ladies and gentlemen, a loud round of applause. Mr. Kamal Jain, Executive Director, Business Development, Container Corporation of India Limited. Welcome, sir. To join him on stage, Mr. Rahul Modi, Managing Director, Pushpak Logistics Solutions. I cannot hear that thunderous applause I was talking about, so it would be great if you can make it louder. Mr. C.M. Muraleedharan, India Area Director, Unifeeder. May I welcome him on stage, please? Joining him is Ms. Geetha, Sheth, Assistant Vice President, JM Baxi Ports and Terminals. Ms. Geetha, Sheth. Welcome, ma'am. Joining her on stage will be Mr. Arun.R.Salvi, Head Supply Chain, PetChem, Reliance Industries Limited. May I request Mr. Arun.R.Salvi to also kindly join the guests on stage. To moderate this session, I would like to welcome Mr. Vivek, Kele, Director, Team Global Logistics India Private Limited on stage. Mr. Vivek Kele on stage, sir, you have a really heavy task of moderating the session on time as we are running drastically short of time. Over to you, sir.
Okay, good evening, friends. We are already running late, so I think moral of the not the story, but from the previous session is that nothing can be a mini session. I think these are all very heavy topics and that requires extensive deliberation and extensive sharing of information. And I think that's something that we can keep in mind when we design the next program. Okay, now on the dais we have very interesting people. They are all pioneers in their respective areas that they represent. We have good representation from terminal operators, shippers, vessel operators, first mile, last mile delivery companies. So I don't think we could have asked for a better panel than what we have. So without much ado, I will start with the users. So going to the shippers. So I will start with the extreme left. Salvi sir, can you tell me what are your expectations? We are in coastal shipping here. We have an audience. We have all the decision making here. You represent one of the largest business house in India, Reliance Industries, and you have been one of the pioneer users of coastal shipping. But you still claim that you can do better. Your current percentage of the coastal shipping usage in transportation as coastal shipping is minuscule compared to the overall transport pie that you have. What is your expectation? And I will request, keeping in mind that we have a shorter time frame and we have only 45 minutes to complete our session, every answer should be limited to about 3 to 4 minutes, not more than that. So please, over to you, sir.
Thank you. And pleasure to be here, like said by all. And I agree with you, this is a very experienced forum as well as people in the audience as well. As far as our business is concerned and the topic, when we look at the first mile and the last mile, I think it is just requires a more larger representation of the people who are yet not using multimodal or using coastal as such. Largely, we all know the foundation for the National Logistics Policy, which talks about larger road usage currently, and it also talks about taking rail to about 40 to 45. It takes about also talks about taking the coastal numbers higher, and we heard in the initial panel also it to be at 6.4, and it is stuck at 6.4. Luckily for us, we have a very passionate team. We're really happy to be in Cochin because our users are here. We take material. And I myself am fortunate because at least most of the organizations I worked for, including Reliance, we have used multimodal or coastal or shipping in a very big way to the maximum possible, including having assets of our own, at least in the earlier part of my career. The entire coastline, in terms of whatever can be accessed, so we need to look at that 6.4 number in terms of percentage, in terms of what really can be done, and not exactly.
So your exact expectations as a shipper?
So my exact expectations from the first mile and the last mile currently are in terms of 3 areas. The access to the ports is definitely not where it is. Because we all know, currently in this forum here, we are sitting as experts from multimodal or shipping. But when we are, how do we behave as consumers when we go back to our families? What is the kind of transit time and expectation that you have from every other person who is giving you service? So at the same time, we need to keep in mind that we are a country which is going to be number 3 in the world in terms of the transit. So when we look at potential, currently there are gaps in terms of clear access. JNPT is likely to have problems by the end of this month. It's already out. We know the last month was full of monsoons. Our access to ports, especially in Gujarat and other parts also, were severely impacted. That's number 1 problem to be sorted for.
So accessibility to the port has to be better.
The turnaround time of trucks, basically, in terms of handling of containers or handling how we transship goods, basically, is the second part. And then the overall productivity, because you are talking, when we talking about moving from road to rail or rail to coastal, at the same time from road to coastal, there are 3 parameters that need to be worked on. I talked about these 3. At the same time, the handling of goods is one area that we seriously need to look at, because largely as a country, a large part is dependent on manual as well. Of course, it's a kind of spirit and passion that one needs to have to move to this side of automated handling so that you are able to tackle. And the last but not the least part of it is in terms of the whole part. We have neglected one area, which is the driver currently, who takes a lot of time to access the port, and which is an area of concern for the entire country on the other side. It might prove to be beneficial.
So basically you're driving that efficiencies in every, by every player and in every activity, that is in the entire supply chain.
Yeah.
So be it drivers, be it turnaround time, be it efficiency of the ports, be it road, accessibility in terms of its infrastructure, and which gives you a faster transit.
There's one last part, which of course got covered by Book My Port, is in terms of understanding of whole the coastal and the marine business, basically, by the rest of the people who are the current road users. Okay. I think the understanding level is still far. We have a lot to do for them to shift.
Yeah, I think to better the understanding, we have Sudhir, who is organizing this conference for the last 10 years consistently. So I think Sudhir, a big round of applause for Sudhir, because he's against all the adversities, he's making this conference possible. So now I'll come to the next shipper, Rajagopal sir. You are representing FCI here, and you have one Spectrum, which is the largest Indian private enterprise, and then you have a very large government enterprise. And what are your expectations? So quickly, about 3 minutes.
Sure. Good evening to everyone. We were one of the first to start in coastal shipping way back in 14 when Murali was also associated. But unfortunately, it has not gained much traction. Like we move about 400 lakh metric ton every year, but coastal shipping, at the best year, it was 1 lakh. So it could not pick up mainly this last mile, first mile, last mile problem. See, what we have to understand is like, as it was mentioned in the previous panel also, time is a big factor, like how quickly the cargo reaches. Second, when it comes to cost, in a government sector especially, we compare it invariably with the rail and other options available. So if you have to be competitive with that, geographically our locations cannot change. These are all traditional warehouses and all, it cannot change. So when it comes to that cost element of taking it from the first mile to the last mile, there will be cost implication. So how best you can innovate it, how best you can improvise upon that and offer it as the best possible solution. We have Concor here, like Concor is doing some kind of inland cargo movement for us, containerized cargo movement. So is there any way we can club these two, like the inland and the coastal, and give us a complete package, complete solution, which will not just give us cost, if not in cost, at least it gives us better efficiency. That could be one area where some contribution could be made. Another thing is like, can you think of solutions which will help us solve our problems? Like, instead of thinking only from your side, if you think from our problem, a customer problem, and offer solutions which will solve their issues, their challenges will come. I mean, there the potential is there. I can give you an example. Why I came here primarily for that only, like in Northeast, we have a big issue of connectivity. Like the rail and road connectivity to certain parts of Northeast is very limited. And invariably, every monsoon season, we face a problem of landslides and the routes getting disrupted, the train service get disrupted, road movement get disrupted. So we have sleepless nights during that time because our capacity in those states are also small because these are all hilly terrains, we cannot build big warehouses. So we need a reliable, steady supply chain to the northeastern states. So of late, Government of India and Bangladesh were working very closely to develop a new route. I don't know with the new development what disruptions will come in that, but I feel a commercial thing will always sustain. So through Chittagong port, they are connecting into Sabroom in Tripura. And there a new terminal is getting set up, rail connectivity is getting established. So we want to develop that Sabroom area as an entry point for the entire Northeast. By moving stocks from the coastal areas, the east coast, either from Orissa or from Andhra Pradesh coastal. So we will do the coastal movement from there and take it to Chittagong. From there, it will be road bridged to Sabroom. From Sabroom, either we will move it further by rail or by road. So this will give us an alternate route to northeast, which will be a big help to us to address this kind of challenges, climatic challenges in that. So these kind of areas where you can help us to address our challenges, our concerns. Maybe we can work together and have more useful development of this coastal shipping and usage of coastal shipping for us.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Rajagopal. I think what he, from what I understand, he's trying to say is that we require integrators, because like you have globally in the global supply chain, in the EXIM trade, we have logistics integrators who combine various modes of transportation, and they give a solution, a cost-effective solution, not only cost but also time-efficient solution. Same thing that needs to be done, in the local intermodal transportation. But of course, that requires extensive investments in the infrastructure, and of course requires regulatory clearances when we are talking about some other country being part of the supply chain solution. With that, I request Mr. Murali to share his experiences, because he, Avana Logistics and its earlier avatar as a part of the Transworld Group has been he has been a pioneer in trying to develop the coastal shipping in using containerized mode, and they had to come huge amount of hurdles, getting the regulatory in place, convincing the customer, asking them that yes, coastal is a viable option. I mean, they have been through those various things. But what has happened is over the period, with the initial growth that came in, I think the growth has plateaued. my question to you, sir, is that what is the potential of the coast cargo that can be carried as per you, as per your studies, containerized coast, because that's what you specialize in, containerized coastal transportation. What is the full potential in terms of tonnage or TEUs, and what is it currently that we are carrying in terms of what has been achieved, and what is it that can be done to reach the balance? So 3 to 4 minutes, please.
Thank you, Vivek, for that introduction. See, coastal shipping, I would say like the potential, it's an unlimited potential. Like if you look at the overall logistics scenario in India, everybody has discussed that. It's 63% cargo is moving by road and 33 by rail. Hardly 6 to 7%, as Rahul said, so many years we are discussing same, kind of percentage through coastal. So the potential is huge. Today, if you talk about the TEUs in a coastal trade, close to 3 lakh, we are moving in an annual volume. It's around 8 to 9 million ton. Whether the total by sea, as per ministry data, it's 151 million ton is the last year, 22-23. So we are talking about 93% cargo is moving by road and rail. The conversion ratio is comparatively very slow into coastal. There could be many reasons, like one of the reasons what we are discussing today, the challenge is like first mile, last mile. But it was a challenge, it is a challenge, it will be a challenge according to me. Like, it's overnight, you cannot change. But as a group, if we talk about like, earlier it was a part of Transport Group, now it is a part of DP World. So we have this kind of, rail logistics setup, warehouse, all those kind of, logistic solutions within the group. So what we are trying, like, some kind of innovative idea, like how can we integrate, between our rail logistic and coastal, of course, along with road, like, because we cannot leave the road because the area is vast. So that is the main kind of, idea, like how we can integrate this. Like we have done a lot of, like, now you can see, like, that is what I said. It's a challenge, but there is a drastic kind of change, like the conversion, integration is happening between these 3 modes. So we are also working out, like moving forward, how can we use our, both these kind of, rail logistic and coastal in a better way, like, so that is the only way, like, apart from that, I would say, like, the area where the development is not happening is the minor ports, like, because at least that is also one port, like, the minor port development, like, at least I'm not talking about that there are 200 minor ports in India. It cannot be possible, like, to develop all the 200, but at least the strategic location, the main, areas, at least. So within these 3, like some of the connectivity between the minor ports and major ports, then the rail along with coastal, definitely there will be a conversion, because as Rajagopal sir said, like, millions of ton FCA is moving, like, we were discussing always, like, with our great efforts, like, at least we were able to convert some portion, like, between 1-2 ports, like Kakinada, Cochin. But if you look at the FCA itself, like, there are another commodities like fertilizer, you take food grain, salt, anything like the bulk commodities, and there are a lot of areas where it is conversionable very easily. Because of all these challenges, not happening, but slowly it is happening, and I think there will be a development in the coastal. So if you are the potential is huge. There is no limit, like the conversion ratio. Yeah.
Okay.
So we are working towards that. It's not like, again, I mentioned, like, it cannot happen overnight, but slowly, steadily, as a group, we are also putting a lot of efforts how we can do jointly. That's energized.
Yes. So having said that, we have, 2 modes of transport present here. We have Concor, which gives first mile, last mile, using rail as a mode of transport, and we have BLR roadways, which gives essentially, road-based service. Of course, both the parties, otherwise also give rail and road, separately. But I think majority for Concor is rail and majority for BLR is road. So I will ask you, Jain sir, first mile, last mile, we've been talking about. That's the theme for our session. So as Concor, how are you facilitating the first mile, last mile delivery? And before the session, we said that, large movers like Food Corporation of India and several others, even the private industry houses are looking for seamless integration. And rail is one such mode which has a potential, to achieve that. So quickly, if you can share your thoughts on that. It's about 3 to 4 minutes, sir.
Sure. Thank you, Vivek. So earlier the Concor used to tell, think container, think logistic. Now we are telling, think logistic, think Concor. So our motto is giving the end-to-end solution and a one-window solution. That is, we are moving towards that one. And of course, we are earlier we were predominantly rail and terminal operator, but nowadays, or since last few years, we are focusing on the first mile, last mile solution also, both for the EXIM as well as the domestic trade. And we have improved significantly well in that sector, particularly FMLM. Earlier, we were hardly doing 2% of the total cargo which was coming in the container terminals and moving by road to the customer premises. Now, as of now, it is almost 25%. So it is significant improvement. And our target is 50% by the March 2025. So we have done a lot of initiative has been taken for FMLM, and we have basically, earlier it was a contractual system. The contractor used to quote very high rates, so we were not able to serve the customer at the price which he wants. So he used to take from the market. So nowadays what we have done, we have now opened this for the various truck operator, and they can basically become our vendor. And without, it is very easy. And the first and most important thing which we have done recently is the mobile-based app of FMLM. Anybody can basically log in that they can become the user, and once they log in, they can basically just write the requirement, what is required, from where to where it has to be booked, particularly the roads, and they will get very competitive rates, and it has been very successful. Second important thing which we have done in the road sector is we have deployed our own LNG trailers. Of course, as far as the coastal shipping is concerned, even the rail movement towards the coastal is also a first mile, last mile. And the road is also the first mile, last mile. So we have deployed almost 100 LNG trailer, which is a green initiative which has taken by the Concor. Of course, it is a bit expensive, but very efficient, and lot of carbon dioxide emission is basically saved, and it is also very efficient also. So, of course, the challenges is that the LNG fuel pumps are not all over the country, particularly surprisingly in the northern part of India, even not a single LNG fuel pump is there. But we have signed MOU with the IGL and IOCL to meet our requirement. And they have promised that they will deploy, they will install the fuel pump at our premises, and we will be able to serve the customer at a very competitive rates. Because, you know, when the customer is dependent on so many agencies, then the cost is high. So make cost, or make very low cost, particularly in the logistics cost, which is our aim, which is the government in India's aim. We have to give the one window solution, and we need not to basically get the margin in each and every sector. So that is our important. And another thing is, which I already conveyed, that is a PPP model, which already we are doing through this mobile-based app, and it is fantastically working very well. So that is the basically our motto that, and initially we have tried the coastal movement. In 2006 we moved from JNPT to Chennai, and later on we moved from the Kandla port to Cochin as well as Mangalore. But because of certain challenges we could not continue, but again we are looking forward, and we already signed MOU with the Shipping Corporation of India Limited. And we had very good discussion with the GSW, and they are ready to give the complete solution to the Concor. That is, you provide the logistics solution, they will only look for the manufacturing part. So that is, we are going for the big players and trying to give them the best solution. Thank you.
So basically, to summarize, you are offering technology as well as alternative fuels in order to make the first mile and last mile, competitive as well as environment friendly. Over to you, Goel, sir. Well, in terms of road transportation, how are you easing the pain of first mile and last mile, and how your experiences as a service provider and some cases, solutions that you've given, if you can share a little bit information so that everybody can be benefited with your
Definitely.
possibility.
So basically, the main concern which we face and everybody faces is the waiting period. I mean, at the customer premises, just to load one vehicle, they take about 8 to 10 hours for the billing and everything. So if that can be reduced, definitely the cost can also be reduced because we can make a number of more trips. The solution which I got for this, because we are talking about multimodal, is either have one puller and maybe 3-4 chases, which can be turned around faster. So that could be one solution where the cost can come down. But problem is the regulations. Most of the RTOs are not even aware about this rule and they do not allow this kind of system. And then the taxation part. This was one. Second, again, the road conditions. For a distance of 130 kilometers, let's say from Nhava Sheva to Vapi, we are taking about 24 hours. So the turn again, I mean, we should have roads, exclusive roads for heavy duty vehicles. So there are no entry restrictions, which should be done away with if you really want to reduce the cost of operation for a road transportation. This thing. Third, again, very simple, but I mean, I feel that e-way was introduced for evasion of to reduce the evasion of GST. Now with most of the invoicing happening on the portal, so the evasion of GST because of this thing is not possible now. But still, we are talking about multimodal. We are using all the 3 modes of transport. There may be a challenge that sometimes the container might be waiting for road or for rail or sea, and the e-way will be expired. You will be surprised that if the penalty is if it is paid by the bank account of a trucker, it is 2 times the penalty if it is being paid by a customer. So I don't feel the need right now why it should be done. Plus, if you are talking about government companies, there's no chance of GST evasion. I mean, so the e-way bill system which was introduced, probably that has to be regulated much faster. And last, I feel in terms of trucking, we are still not using technology the way which a trucker should be using. A simple solution like a GPS system, still this is not being used. Even now we rely on calling up the driver to find out his location. If we start using technology more or GPS system more and other system more, all could be on the same, all the logistics providers could be on the same platform and the visibility will be much faster and the turnaround could be faster. So these are a few of the challenges and few of the solutions which I feel can take place.
Thank you, sir. I think your years of experience, you can come up with some specific solutions. Thank you for sharing your, insights. With that, I come to Geetha, ma'am. Ma'am, you've been operating 6 terminals on the Indian coastline. And I think out of the 6 terminals, I think 4 terminals you are handling coastal cargo. And I think you also are operating at your terminals, also handling and turning around coastal ships. So, and you are giving infrastructure services where the modal shift happens from rail to ship or from road to ship.
Right.
So there, I think one of the challenges which Salvi sir mentioned was about turnaround time, etc. So you as a terminal operator, how you can assist the first mile and the last mile and improve turnaround times and facilitate coastal shipping and any other information that you want to share as a terminal operator?
Sure. Today I'm representing Jain Baxi Ports and Terminals division here. Jain Baxi is operating 6 container terminals, of which in 2 of them we are operating bulk and break bulk as well. And the 7th terminal is coming up in Tuticorin. Of the 6 operating terminals, in 4 terminals we are handling coastal ships, and 2 of them we are handling bulk and break bulk ships as well. In Tuti, we will be also handling container ships, coastal container ships. So Tuti will definitely cater to the coastal trade. Of the total volume, which is about 1.8 million that Jain Baxi is handling, 15% of it is through coastal containers, which includes laden and empty as well. Mr. Murli gave a figure which was, I think, only laden. So when we count, we take both the laden and the empty as well. We are handling coastal break bulk ships at Paradeep and at NSDT as well. 80 to 85% of the coastal volume that we are handling is on the west coast, which is from Gujarat to the southern ports of Mangalore and Cochin, and soon maybe Tuti will be added too. Most of it, I did a bit of research in the market, speaking to a few of the operators or the coastal shipping service providers, not the coastal operators, the TCI or the SCI, but the freight forwarders who are providing the service. And what I understand is that most of them have a very well established system of door-to-door delivery, wherein they are controlling the first mile and the last mile as well. I'm sure Mr. Rahul Modi will concur with that. I think from a shipper's perspective, the door-to-door challenge is not much as it is for the freight forwarder or who's handling the business. Also, from the congestion perspective, which you asked me, the terminals, other than the Nhava Sheva terminal, we are operating 2 terminals in Nhava Sheva. The rest of all the major ports, we do not have a congestion challenge, whether it is Kandla or Visakhapatnam, Paradeep, Haldia. We do not have a problem, and I don't foresee anything happening in Tuti as well. Our truck turnaround time is an average of 40 to 60 minutes. So I'm sure people must be happy about that, which I cannot say to some of my competitors in Gujarat ports. And yeah, I think on the challenges front, which I understood from my limited research, is that people want more coastal ships, which I think came across quite evidently during discussions today, that we need more coastal ships and more containers, because there is a challenge, and I'm sure Mr. Murali would also agree with that, that he is pressed with space whenever there is a season. And yes, I think drivers is a big challenge during seasons, because when they go off on leave, then you have the prices just going up. Yes.
Yeah. So thank you. I think that's very interesting information that you are able to handle the ships. And I think one of the other things that you mentioned was about sometimes you are giving extended berth timings. Yeah. If you want to elaborate on that.
I can elaborate. We just had this discussion as to how are we contributing to coastal trade. So there are some times when the ship arrives in Kandla and maybe the boxes are not yet ready. So we allow the ship to stay on berth if we do not have back-to-back bunching of vessels, so that they can load. And they don't need to cut and sail because the volume is not ready. So we are that flexible with coastal trade. I would also like to add that as an infrastructure company, we are into the rail business as well. We operate 26 rakes in the country. We're also talking to some of the we're participating in the multimodal coastal business, where we are trying to give rail support in the multimodal. So we will be not only just a terminal operator, but we would also like to participate as a rail operator for the domestic business, which is coming through the coastal mode.
Interesting. So you have a ready customer here sitting on the dais.
I'm sure we
but
can
then,
definitely work out
probably
something.
you can give the rail support, but then I think the other challenge would be having the space on the ship. So I think that's one of the biggest challenges. I think very disturbing trend is being noticed. Some of the coastal operators, for of course economic reasons, are withdrawing ships from the coastal. I think that's very important in a topic that we need to discuss here. Is that the tonnage is being withdrawn for at least the container vessels, because maybe internationally the same ships are fetching better rates in terms of daily this. So it may not be universal, may not be applicable to Havana, but yes, there is a trend to that effect. Murali, one second. So just let me complete. Because we have a very strong feedback from the trade here. I can see some heads are nodding here that there are they are not getting space. I think one of the largest prominent operator here doing 1,000+ containers per month. We have Mr. Rahul Modi. I think he has also been facing some brunt from the shippers that they want space, but there is no space available. Of course, everybody has to run their businesses. There are economics involved. So I think it's more of a policy issue. You can't really attribute that reason to a particular operator. But I think because of inconsistency on various fronts. So we have some decision makers. We have people who represent large private sector organizations. People represent the government here. I think how do we achieve that on a consistent basis? The tonnage is available. Year on year, there's a growth. there is more intermodal connectivity gets bettered as we progress. But from what we were a few years ago, we have been progressing at a very snail's pace. So I will invite Rahul ji to share his I think some of the concerns that or the challenges he's facing as a coastal freight forwarder. Rahul ji, over to you.
Thank you, Vivek ji. I would like to request Sudhir to take these points very seriously and put a note to the ministry. I am representing freight forwarders. Freight forwarders are the bridge between the coastal operators and the clients. My team is researching from last 25 years to develop the cargo. I was the first, I think that in this session, I am the oldest coastal container freight provider. Our team is doing too much of efforts to divert the cargo from rail and road. We are discussing on the first mile, last mile. Murali sir is discussing on the potential. Very, very sad to say that now coastal is fighting with EXIM. Earlier it was fighting with with rail or road, but now we are fighting with EXIM. Because when we going and we asking our lines are saying that EXIM rates are too high. So if you increase the rates, otherwise we will divert our vessels to EXIMs. This happens when the corona was there. From last 2 months, this is happening. National line or private line, no one is discussing on the coastals. Everything is on a paper. PM vision is on a paper. Our vision is a paper. From last 10 years, I am attending this. I'm the person who has changed this name coastal shipping to coastal multimode. From last 10 years, we are discussing. There is a cargo. There is also one, DG shipping is here. Joint Secretary is here. So I think that this is a good platform. And sorry if I will not complete in 2 minutes, then sorry, I'm saying in advance. I just like to say that if any foreign flag vessel wants to divert their vessel in coastal, they have to change their flag. Change the flag is very, very big, huge amount. But when they have to go from coastal to EXIM, there is no restriction. They can go as per their convenience. But if they have to come, they have restrictions. How this works? Some agencies, some associations are not allowing vessels to come. How coastal will increase? We are running behind the Awana has a fleet of, I think, how many? 10 ships. Other vessel providers have only 2 fleets. How we can increase our cargo? How we can increase our tonnage? We have a lot of policies. I am representing National Shipping Board. We have a lot of projections on the Indian tonnage. We have to increase Indian tonnage. How Indian increase the tonnage will increase? This is a big question. If here so many clients are here, Reliance is here, otherwise our small clients are here. When we are going to them, every 2-3 months there is a rate hike. So we said that this rate is there, that you have to pay. So lines are saying that EXIM rates are high, so they are increasing the rates. When we are going to coast, like our corporate clients, they are saying that why you are increasing the rate. So we as a freight forwarder in a dilemma, what to do? Because we freight forwarder are losing our money. Very sorry to say that before 10 years, when we started this coastal multimodal summit, our association has launched their logo with 50 plus freight forwarders. Now it is 35. PM discussing coastal, we are discussing coastal, but the freight forwarders are 35. Last 1 year, 15% of the freight forwarder has diverted their business. Okay, so many reasons, not this tonnage, so many reasons. But the one reason is that the rates, stability is not there. If I have to sign a contract with any corporate, I cannot because I have no rate stability. Other than this, there is no vessel. As we are saying that we have sir has signed the MOU with the shipping corporation in India. Very good. It should be. One PSU has to work with one PSU other than private lines. I appreciate this, but where is the space? Where is the space? So these are the big questions. We have to think on that. And as discussed by, what I want to say is that coastal is my baby. Because I'm in 24 years from here, my daughter age is 24. So it is paining me. When this coastal is not developing, paining, Awana is doing well, TCI is doing well, Seamatic is doing well, SCI is doing well. They have their some restriction they have, and for the revenue, they are going to the EXIMs. But national interest is not comparing to revenue. When you are in the national interest, you have to work. When there is a slash, you are coming to the coastal, you are using your vessels in the coastal. When there is peak season, you are without intimating to your clients, you are diverting your vessels. So this should be stopped. as Secretary is there is no restriction policy with us to control the rates or any shipping line, sir. We, as a shipping ministry, we don't have any controls in any international line or any national lines or any private lines. They can do, okay, it is their business. But coastal, we all have to work with this, and coastal volumes is the volumes which can go to our PM vision to reduce the logistic cost and 3 million ticket only. The coastal is the main. As said by Geetha madam, the driver issues, yes, we are facing driver issues, but we are managing. Then also we are serving our clients. The freight forwarders, every freight forwarders team is working 24/7 to give their service. Then only we can say that we are giving this service to this. So these are the issues, but the vessel is the big issue, and we have to think on that. With this, my request to Sudhir to write strongly to the ministry that these are the issues from the trade. I think that if you write, someone will listen there. Okay, thank you.
So we have, yeah, Murli, before you go, just half a minute. Yeah, you take over, but just half a minute. So we have, it's 6:21, we have about 9 minutes. I will try to,
1 minute, Vivek bhai, we have a time. We are here for coastal discussion.
Yes,
we have a time.
No,
yeah, we are here for coastal.
But then, yeah, we have also the next session there. So we have to respect that. But yes, maybe we can expect a request for another 5-10 minutes extra, but not more than that. I think in respecting the people present here as well as the organizers. There is one important discussion that keeps on happening in all the forums. I'm going to kick a hornet's nest here by saying this, but please don't give any comment. I'm just trying to refresh everybody's memories about cabotage law. So time and again, there is a recommendation that comes that the cabotage law should be withdrawn because it is not adding to the tonnage, nor is it, improving the, coastal availability of coastal vessels because of the Indian flag restriction. When in several forums in the past, which I have attended, we said, yes, the Indian ship owners should be given access to Indian tonnage. Indian tonnage as in the Indian cargo. But at the same time, when you are giving access to the foreign flags, are you giving a level playing field to the Indian ship owners? Are you giving them the tax benefit in terms of the tonnage tax? Are you giving them income tax benefit? Are you giving them the bunker, the fuel that is available in the international bunkering stations at the same cost to the Indian ships? So I think, and these challenges are not today. These challenges have been existing in the last 20-25 years. I've been attending seminars in this. So why is the government not doing anything about fixing this and then getting rid of the cabotage law? Why is a level playing field not being given to the Indian ship owners, making them access to the same international taxation which policies which exist in other countries, giving them bunker at a cheaper rate? Now we have alternative fuels coming in, but yes, I know our alternative fuel will come in, ammonia will come in, methanol will come in, hydrogen will come in, but the availability of bunker fuel to the Indian ship owners issue on the Indian shores will not get solved. It is an irony of the situation that we have been discussing this for decades and we haven't had a solution for that. So I thought it was important that we discuss it. Sir, we will come to that. I think Mr. Murli wants to make one small point. After Mr. Murli, sir, we will give it to you because I think towards the end we will take one closing remarks, but I think sir wants to make a comment. But first you, and then we'll sir.
No, Vivek, we already, what I was about to tell you, you already explained
I'm
that.
sorry.
Because as an Indian owner, what we are facing, because
Okay.
I'm not arguing. It's not for arguing safe, but people are saying like, what Rahul Modi has said is absolutely correct. Even the national shipping company or the private companies are, planning to take out the ships from coastal only because of what you explained, This is what, Second thing, if you look at today as a Unifeeder now, we have deployed almost 10 Indian flagship we are operating. It's almost, each ship can carry 30,000 ton, different size. According to East Coast, we cannot operate a larger ship, so we have deployed 2 small ships. Other area, bigger ships. So depending upon the need, we have deployed the ships. If we ask the utilization, it's the space constraint what we are discussing now, even last couple of months, this is the international scenario. Everywhere the space constraint is there. Otherwise, if you look at the utilization on an annual base, it's not 100%. Our ships are not utilized 100%. Even the ships which we have deployed today in the Indian market is, I would say, on an average 70%. And another main challenge is the imbalancing of trade. Rahul Modi will say that the vessel is full from Gujarat to other places, but while returning, we are just carrying the air. We are just carrying the empty container. It's all the cost for a... So what I mean, like, it's not like the space... Sometimes the space constraint is there. What we are facing, like, it's not domestic now. Even the international field also, like, for exim trade also, from here, everybody is facing the challenge, like the space is not available, tonnage is not available, so same scenario. So it is not like we as an Indian owner, we can increase our tonnage, we can, deploy the ships as per the need. It's not like we are not saying no, but as you, I don't want to repeat what you said, like those areas, if government can look at, as an Indian owner, Unifeeder or any other Indian operator, like, I don't think like anybody will say no, we'll operate, Thank you.
Sir, you wanted to make a point here.
Yeah. So just to bring to that context of the cabotage, to be very honest, India does not have this policy at all. If you see how other country implements these kind of policies, there are if you take the example of China, few of the
US, everybody has a cabotage law.
Few of the major ports, they only recently opened for to allow foreign flag vessels to come to that. And all the minor ports in China, only Chinese flag can go. So now coming to this this wonderful example of the General Order 1, 2, 3. So if you see the container fleet number 5 years back, when before this order came, it was close to 17. And then over the time, it was steadily growing. It reached around 34 or 35 like that. And then the General Order 1, 2, 3 came again. There were lots of policy paper analysis coming from ADB and some other agencies as well. And then if you see the overall growth of the world fleet and then the Indian fleet after the General Order 1, 2, 3, the Indian fleet, every year one vessel was going out since then. And on top of that, some of the, or I would say one of the biggest Indian player, their operation is, I think, it's now done by some DP World, yes. And the world fleet, if you see, the TEU carrying capacity has grown steadily 7% every year. So it's like our graph was going up. Then there was a policy intervention coming from the government based on the recommendations coming from the industry. And then whatever was advocated, it had happened something else. So it's a wonderful example of what we call evidence-based case study. Or the policy initiative. So we need to look into what we actually aimed, whether we have achieved, definitely not. So it's we need to retrospect over it and take a, I would say, curative action. Thank you.
Thank you for your sharing the information, sir. So now, our honorable organizer has kindly, graciously extended us another, 15 minutes to carry out our session. So what I will do now, we'll head towards the, every panel member summarizing, and giving their closing remarks, and then we will open it to the forum, and we'll have another thing. So starting with you, Salvi, sir.
So to summarize, I will just say that what does the supply chain or what does the consumer guy look for? He looks for three aspects, which is cost, service, and safety. Clearly, the safety at coastal side is better because you are avoiding huge amount of road exposure, so that's a big plus. On the cost front, definitely it is more economical. I think the service part is something basically is a problem that needs to be aligned. And there's an element of education also there, which I talked about earlier. However, to do the needful, what is required is, I think a lot of stakeholders here need to get together so that we have some kind of defined schedule of from to destinations to start off with. There are services basically for some of the destinations, but I think that will give the assurance to the fence sitters or industries or consumers who are still not into coastal. That's point one. Second is every part of the movement cannot really come into coastal. And for that, what we need to look at is which are the goods and commodities which are the upstream or the feedstock or the larger volumes which can move to coastal. So I think in the first panel, coal was talked about. There is still a huge amount of that. Same with other industries. And every industry would have a input. I think so that needs to be studied maybe much more in detail and not in rush to kind of take this forward. I think that would be my quick survey. Happy to be here. here.
Thank you. Geetha ji.
So as a infrastructure service provider with container terminals and rail logistics, Jain Baxi is actively looking to support the coastal trade in the multimodal. Like I said, that we're working very actively with somebody to integrate the rail bit into the coastal logistics. And what we understand from our initial discussion is that it is bringing down the cost by 20 to 25% per TU compared to if it is a road, sea and road. But if we do it by, say, rail, sea and road, the cost is down by 20 to 25%. But the downside to a multimodal logistics is that the transit increases if it is just by a rail or a road. So as an organization, yes, we are committed to the coastal trade. Thank you.
Murli sir.
Thank you. Yeah. So again, I'm coming back to that your question, that potential. Its potential is huge. So only request from as a coastal operator, the request is like, the millions of ton is moving by road or Indian railways. This will go, but in an integration model, like, if government can put some kind of, mandatory fuel, I don't know whether even if you keep 10% of the PSU's cargo, mandatory, like, to move by coastal. Definitely the coastal, we are talking about development of coastal, so, because the reason when we are approaching a fertilizer company, when we are approaching any other PSUs, the first answer is getting like, we need to give a priority to the Indian Railways. Of course, Indian Railways belongs to a ministry, but when we are talking about the other side of the coastal development, the only way to develop the coastal, like, there has to be some kind of, even when it's nominal percentage also keep them mandatory, like this much cargo should move by coastal, the coastal will develop. The infrastructure, definitely if there is a cargo, it's such a connect situation, like, if cargo is available, definitely whether it is Indian operators, owners, definitely the tonnage will increase. So that is what one suggestion from my side. If you can look at that way, like policy change or something like, maybe it can interconnect it to that carbon emission system, some kind of subsidy. It's not like direct subsidy, but maybe connecting through today we are talking about all sustainability and carbon emission things, like, so everywhere that topic is there, like, so the subsidy, I'm not saying like if you load coastal, you give a subsidy straight away, but at least can, route through some kind of, so these are the two suggestions sum up here. Otherwise, as a Unifeeder, we are operating in a coastal trade since 2000. We will continue, and we are there to, provide any kind of service, door to door, port to port, whatever, like, services for that trade. So, thank you.
So, one of the interesting things we must say that what we have inherited in India is, whenever the industry is being promoted, and at that time, less weightage was given to logistics in deciding a location of an industry. We had states who were giving incentives in terms of tax benefits. So we had industries being developed in remote regions, in the hilly regions. We had industries being developed where large steel manufacturing, etc., happened, where there was iron ore present, or there were industries being made just by because there was certain industrialist or certain policymakers had a commitment to the people in that region that yes, we will, this industry will come here. As we have progressed over decades, logistics has come into the foreplay as an important criteria, which since it was not ignored in the previous years, it is biting us now. And unless and until we don't, implement certain heavy investments in terms of financial resources as well as in terms of policy making, these structural changes need to be addressed for us to find solutions and ensuring that the coastal, along with inland water transportation, goes up. So I think that's the progress we have to look at, because we are far behind. The entire location of industry, consumption and manufacturing, it's all skewed. So, it can only be linked through a very robust logistics infrastructure, and a holistic view needs to be taken for that. And also, apart from that, we also have certain emissions, carbon emissions, target that we need to meet. Of course, India has 2070 to become carbon neutral, but we have some ambitious target by 2030 we need to meet. Now, if we have to meet that, one of the big carbon footprints comes from the logistics industry, from the transportation industry. And that can be reduced only through modal shift. Now, if we have reduction in tonnage, if we have origin destination challenges, if we have other issues, like for example, there was a discussion about the same criteria is for vessel clearance is used for foreign going ships and as well as the coastal shipping. Now, why can't we just remove those anomalies by means of a simple circular? Why do the coastal ships have to go through? We are talking about promoting the Indian coastal shipping. We are talking about promoting Indian flag. Then why do they need to go through the same clearance processes which a international flag has to do? So I think, and these are all simple policy-related issues which can be addressed, and I will request Sudhirji to take it up with the ministries. With that, I will request Rahulji, you want to give your closing remarks? So.
As Murali sir said, we had taken up the matter with the fertilizer ministry to divert their cargo and the coal ministry to coastal. I would like to say that coal ministry, on the request of the coal ministry, railway ministry has given the subsidy for the shortest route. It is in the first time, I think so. It is the first time to connect the shortest route. So rail and road are not our competitors in the coastal shipping.
They play a complementary role.
They are and rail has to think on run the shortest routes. I mean, they have to run on the shortest route, and maximum routes will be covered by sea, and then rail or road we can think on that. Then this will be okay, because subsidy in fertilizer, there is a subsidy for the rail, but I think that now they had given the subsidy for coastal also, no, but not for the imported fertilizer, but domestic fertilizer they had given, because we had taken up this domestic fertilizer they had given. So there are the challenges, but rail, road and sea, if we will go with the multimodal, then only we can say that our we can reduce our logistic cost. If we will fight in between, Concor is running train to Cochin, one operator is running their vessel to Cochin, it will not work. So Concor has to find their area, a sea operator has to find their area, then only I think that we can go with a win-win situation. It is my suggestion.
Jain sir.
Vivek, there is a lot of potential in the coastal shipping, and definitely one window solution will work. And second thing, we should have the serious thought why it is still 6.4%, why it is not increasing. A serious thought has to be given, as Rahul ji has mentioned, that even the coastal ship, they are diverted to the other stream whenever they are finding that the rate increase in the EXIM sector. So that has to be looked into, and certain policy is definitely going to make the changes. And second, we have to go for the green energy. LNG has to be promoted, and more and more terminals wherever we can get the cargo, that is the proximity to the cargo, that rail as well as the road, we have to basically work on it. And industry, the logistic provider, everybody and government, they have to work together for this. Thank you.
Okay. So quickly, Goel Saab and
just
Rajagopal.
brief on the driver shortage which everybody is talking about. So on every 100 vehicles, there are just 50 drivers. But the main reason is how we treat them. So I think the trade needs to see, the customers need to see how when the driver approaches them, how they should be treated, number one. Number two, treat them like a blue collar. Like I'm giving our example, we have the drivers on payroll, and believe me, we have not faced any driver shortage, but most of the people face, because they are being treated like a blue collar, 8 hours of working hours and all that stuff. So if we start treating drivers as a blue collar employee, I think this driver shortage can be worked out. That's my view.
Thank you. Yeah, we have overcome that, but in some other forum, we will relate our own experiences. Yeah, Rajagopal sir.
Yeah, as a closing, as one of the largest user of logistics infrastructure, I can see that there are problems in every leg of this entire chain. So maybe a more integrated approach from the government side. Now this Gati Shakti platform is widely used by Government of India to promote different modes of transportation. I think we should be able to harness the strength of each one of them, as Mr. Modi rightly pointed out, instead of being competitors, if we can cooperate in and develop. From a customer point of view, we are ready in the sense that if a good option, a good deal is given, we are ready to shift. But maybe a more policy-driven, more integrated approach, integrating all the strengths and covering up the weaknesses of each other, if you can work out, definitely it will help not just the industry, but the country to progress on this. Thank you.
I think with that, we will end our session. So thank you, my fellow panelists, for your wonderful thought sharing that you have done here. I'm sure the audience are greatly benefited with your insights into the challenges faced and the solutions that you have shared with us. So with that, I request the audience to extend a big round of applause to our panelists. And I'm not sure. Yeah. So
no.
Yeah. One question, please.
So I see some of the panelists as a potential, employer of ship owners here. So I have some quick question. One is Mr. Jain. Mr. Jain, I understand what you said, that you're going to provide end-to-end logistics service. Concor is, ready to provide that kind of service. And you are also entering into an agreement with Shipping Corporation of India. So because there would be a need of sea leg in that logistics supply chain. So is there a possibility of a small ship owner also tying up with your organization to fulfill that sea leg, sir?
Yeah, we are open for that also. Like we have done in the road sector, we have opened, there is a mobile-based app has been created. So something like that, it can also be done for the other small operator too. And it is going to benefit all of us.
Thank you, sir. I will leave it there.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, okay. Okay, we'll take one last question. Let's make it very quick.
I am Prakash, representing Kerala Steamers Association. I fully endorse the views of Mr. Rahul Modi, the issues we are facing in the coastal transportation. As pointed out by some of the speakers earlier, berthing facility for coastal cargo has to be improved, which we are facing a lot of issues. Even we have terminals which operates both the vessels, but facilities for or the priorities for coastal vessels are not given. That has to be given. We have to emphasize on that. Secondly, the Indian tonnage has to be increased. Indian tonnage, in the sense, the formalities, what I could understand is that registration of Indian flag vessels are much difficult than any other countries. And flag of convenience in other parts of, like in even Panama or any China.
Sir, what is your question? My
question, what is the action we are going to take to improve Indian tonnage? You have an answer?
What is the action that we're going to take for?
Increasing Indian tonnage to carry the coastal
Indian
cargo.
tonnage, yeah. So the topic for today is first mile, last mile. I think Indian tonnage, there are separate set of people here, and that should be asked to INSA, Indian National Ship Owners Association. So we are, I don't think we have competent people here on the panel. Sorry to say that, but yeah. So with that we will end.
Let me complete.
Sir.
So you can make a note of this and
Yes.
relate to the ministry if you want.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. So Sudhirji is making the notes and he will pass for the notes.
Yes,
Thank
definitely.
you so much.
Thank you so much. I think that's something India Sea Trade always does, take notes and definitely make sure that those who need it will definitely listen to it. And we do take actions on that. Thank you so much for the questions and thank you, dear panelists. And to honor the panelists, we'll take one question, sure. Sorry, sir, yes.
The first panel itself, I have told that we are lacking a multimodal transport organization, a multimodal transport Carriers Act for domestic purposes. We are representing the largest association employing multimodal transport, and this law is very much required. This summit should request the central government to initiate action on the Multimodal Transport Act for domestic carriage, I am telling you again and again because we are suffering. The 3,000 odd dealers of the All Kerala Tiles and Sanitary Dealers Association, individually they are small entities, not like your bigger entities which you have already spoken from the panels. We are small entities. We are suffering for the last 18 years because of the losses which are incurring in transportation from Gujarat and other places to Cochin, Mangalore, Tuticorin. We are taking 1 million tons of material every year, and this aspect has to be taken into account. You have to take up this measure with the central government. We have already done from our association side. The shipping ministry has already agreed. They have forwarded that to the DPIIT, which they have not. We are failing to understand the importance of this. Please see that this is put forward to the central government. Please, please.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, let Rahul answer that. But I have been, president of the Multimodal Transport Operators of India. Of course, that's the MTA, and that governs the international transportation under multimodal transportation. But I want to highlight that, and in fact, no law is a good situation, because the more the law, more restriction comes in. This is my personal feeling. And if you have more restrictions, then that restricts the trade. So I don't think, in absence of a law, nobody is stopping the multimodal transportation or intermodal transportation in India. You really don't need a law, but if you need a law to facilitate, then it's a separate matter. But too much excess law can also go against the trade. So that has been also experienced in some other areas. But I think there's some work has been done in this field, and I will request Rahulji to comment.
We don't want law. We need domestic documented. We don't law. We need domestic document. Domestic document draft already submitted to Ministry of Shipping, and Ministry today one Sagar Kadu was supposed to come, but he has not come. He is working on that. And the domestic MTO, we cannot say that it is only for the coastal. So DPIT in touch with rail in other multimodal, because when the domestic MTO will come, it will implicate it to all the multimodal transporters. So it is under consideration, but sure, it will take time, because they need the stake consultants. And as per my knowledge, the request submitted by Akti-Sada is forwarded to a DPIT. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much, everyone. Thanks for bearing with us. Now I request Mr. Ravi Kumar Nair, Senior Vice President, Head Logistics, Petrochemicals at Reliance, to kindly come on stage and present memento to our panelists as a token of our appreciation and gratitude. Can we have a louder round of applause for him, please? I would like to call Mr. Arun.R.Salvi to kindly come forward and receive the memento. Thank you so much, sir, for being with us. Ms. Geetha Sheth. Thank you, ma'am, for joining us. I would like to invite Mr. C.M. Muraleedharan to kindly step forward to receive a memento. Mr. Rahul Modi, may I request you to kindly step forward and receive a token of our gratitude to you. Mr. Kamal Jain, may I request you to kindly receive a token of our appreciation. Thank you so much for joining us. Mr. Ashok Goel, sir, thank you so much for joining us. Followed by Mr. A. Rajagopal. Thank you so much, sir, for being with us today. Thank you. And of course, Mr. Vivek, Kele, ladies and gentlemen, a loud round of applause. He's been applauding everyone here. I could hear his applause, so please let's give him a loud round of applause. And for being such a genuine moderator, trying to stick to time so well, thank you so much. May I please request you to pose for a quick photograph? May I request Ravi sir to join them, please? you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, loud round of applause. Thank you for joining us, all of you.